Most of us have never had to worry about getting smallpox, polio, or diphtheria. 100 years ago, these diseases were common killers. Now, smallpox is a thing of the past, while polio and diphtheria are very rare in most of the world. The reason? Vaccines. Vaccines are a way of training the immune system for a big fight, so that when it comes up against the same opponent in the future, it knows exactly how to defeat it. When you encounter a virus or a bacterium for the first time, your body has a hard time fighting it. But over time, it learns to recognize the danger. Your immune system produces powerful proteins called antibodies that target and eliminate the disease-causing microbes. After you recover from an infection, specialized cells remain in your blood and keep a memory of the pathogen. They're called memory cells. So the next time you face the pathogen, your body can quickly produce the right antibodies to fight it off. Vaccines are a clever way of harnessing this mechanism to make us immune to a disease. They're made of weakened or killed viruses or bacteria that generate an immune response without making us ill. The first vaccine was developed in 1796 by Edward Jenner. At the time, it was commonly believed that dairymaids were immune to smallpox because they were commonly exposed to cowpox, which is a related but less deadly virus. Jenner decided to test this idea by injecting an 8-year-old boy with pus from a dairymaid's cowpox lesions. A few months later, he injected the boy with smallpox and found that the boy was indeed immune. Whoever said science was pretty. Since then, vaccination programs have been extremely successful at preventing diseases and even eliminating some altogether. Smallpox, a disease that killed 300 million people in the 20th century, was finally eliminated in 1980. So what about the coronavirus? There are over 100 vaccines currently in development. Scientists have moved incredibly quickly, considering we knew almost nothing about the virus at the start of this year. It normally takes years to get to this point. The fastest vaccine ever developed before was for Ebola, and that took 5 years. There are several different ways to make a vaccine. One is to use whole viruses that have been inactivated so that they can't cause a full infection. That might be done using heat. Then there are vaccines that use live viruses that have been weakened so that they can't grow well in the human body. These vaccines tend to generate strong and long-lasting immune responses. For example, the MMR vaccine for measles, mumps and rubella uses 3 live viruses. Some vaccines just put viral molecules into the body, the important bits that our immune system can recognize, rather than using the whole virus. This is how the injected flu vaccine works, and there are several groups working on this type of coronavirus vaccine. The flu virus, or influenza, is a particularly difficult virus to vaccinate against because there are many variants or strains that circulate. It's like the virus has many hats and it changes them often, which makes it hard for our immune system to recognize it when a new one comes along. To produce the vaccine, the virus has to be grown in chicken eggs in a process that takes many months and millions of eggs. Every year, virologists have to predict which flu strains are going to dominate in the next season so that companies have enough time to make enough vaccine to go around. But sometimes they get it wrong, and even when they get it right, the mutating virus might mean that the vaccine doesn't work as well as we hoped. What we really want is a universal flu vaccine based on parts of the virus that don't change. Research on that is ongoing, but unfortunately it doesn't get as much investment as it needs. A relatively new approach that's being investigated is to make a vaccine containing the genetic instructions for viral proteins in the form of DNA or RNA. Once inside the body, the genetic code causes a person's cells to produce the distinctive proteins that are normally found on the virus. These proteins then trigger an immune response and create an immune memory. The University of Oxford is working on a vaccine that uses a harmless virus to deliver the viral genes into cells. It's based on a virus that causes colds in chimpanzees, but it's been genetically modified so that it can't grow in humans. The first clinical trials have shown that it's safe, and it induces a strong immune response. For all the latest news on vaccines and the coronavirus, why not subscribe to New Scientist? There's a special discount for you. You can get 20% off by entering the code SAM20. Despite all the effort being put into coronavirus vaccines, there's no guarantee that this is going to be the magic bullet we're looking for. There's so much we don't know about how our immune systems react to the virus, and it might not even be possible to generate long-lasting immunity. A vaccine might just mean you get a bit less sick from the disease, or you might have to have a booster every year. Then there's the challenge of manufacturing billions of doses and distributing them to every country in the world. It may take years to make enough to go round, raising tricky questions about who should be first in line. Some countries, including the UK, have already made deals to get their hands on the first shipments before the vaccines have even been proven to work. To defeat the pandemic, we need to make sure that everyone who needs vaccines gets access to them. We need to think globally, cooperatively, and act less like children squabbling over cookies. To successfully wipe out a disease, a large proportion of the population needs to be inoculated to create what's called herd immunity, meaning there's enough immune people in the population to stop the disease from spreading. And that brings us to another problem. Some people are deeply skeptical about vaccines, and that could be an obstacle to getting vaccination rates up to the level required. This mistrust has been fueled by unfounded scare stories, like the false idea that the MMR vaccine causes autism. All vaccines have to be rigorously assessed for safety before they're used widely, and they continue to be monitored after they're rolled out. Large clinical trials have repeatedly found no link between MMR and autism. Despite this, rising anti-vaccination sentiment has led to a resurgence of measles in the US, with more than 1,000 cases reported in 2019. And in a recent survey, 1 in 4 people said that they wouldn't take a coronavirus vaccine if it was available. According to the World Health Organization, immunizations prevent an estimated 2 to 3 million deaths every year in people from all age groups. By any measure, vaccines are one of the most successful innovations that humankind has ever come up with. The coronavirus has reminded us just how vulnerable we are to infections, and that new diseases can come along at any moment. Vaccines are our best hope for defeating them.